and greetings to the 12 tribes of the children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel. Greetings and blessings to those people who are scattered into the four corners of the earth, as the Bible prophetic utterance told us. Also, greetings to the 144,000 among them, the Levite priests who represent the 12 tribes, who are called to teach and to prepare a people to meet the Hebrew Messiah that's going to destroy this present system and order of Babylon and establish the Father's kingdom of perfect righteousness. Greetings. Greetings also to the Gentiles who are grafted in and have accepted the truth of the word of the Most High alone through Messiah, have received the faith of righteousness, and are among the true Hebrews to receive the blessings of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Greetings. Blessings upon the people out here on the earth that are working in the medical field trying to save lives every day. Blessings with them of those who are the first to respond to accidents, the first to respond to disasters, to help unfortunate people, even risking their lives to do so. Greetings and blessings upon them. Blessings upon those that do the humble work of picking up garbage to keep streets and sidewalks clean that we take for granted. And those that do the humble work of delivering goods and services, especially food and clothes, so that we could walk in stores and see it packed with food and just believe and know we could get what we're looking for without thinking twice. Blessings upon them. Blessings upon those that are out here trying to rescue, deliver people that are being sucked into, kidnapped into, beaten into, raped into one of the dirtiest, disgusting industries on planet Earth happening in your neighborhood and in mine. The sex slavery, the human trafficking, the child molestation and pedophilia, the child pornography and the pornography, the prostitution and the child prostitution. And blessings upon those people who are the victims of these things and the people trying to rescue these victims. And double curses. May the Most High curse them. The profiteers, the perverts, the perpetrators that are trafficking in this human misery. Finally, blessings upon the homeless. 600,000 men, women, and children on street corners and benches, in tent cities in the United States, and millions around the world in similar or worse conditions. Blessings upon them. The Most High sees them, for theirs is the kingdom, and on those trying to help. Greetings to my brothers and sisters who join us in the chat today. Sister Bupe, Brother Mark, Captain Lewis, Azariah, Brother Hines, Gary Joseph, Maturity Approach, Sister Wade, Azariah, greetings and blessings. Brother Williams, the new addition, Ahaya, to go with the other three beautiful children. Blessings to you and Sister Williams. We have been studying the book of Revelation. Now, I want to just tell you something. I changed the title of last night's lesson because we didn't actually go into what the title indicated. And I changed the title to call it Revelation, the Sixth Trumpet, the Edict of Toleration. And why did I call it the Edict of Toleration and put that in there? Yesterday's title is today's message, because that's what we're going to study this morning. But remember, we looked yesterday and we looked at the 391 years and 15-day prophecy. And I want to also show you that we saw last night that from 1453, you go 391 years, you end up in 1844. The 2-week period started in May of 1453. In May, in the middle of May, 1453, now we go by the Hebrew way of looking at months, which is by the moon phases. In the middle of that month, which was the second month of that year, generally the middle of the month in the Hebrew economy is the full, what we call a full moon. That's the middle of the month. Okay, the full moon's the middle of the month. Okay, when you first see the full moon, that's the 15th day of the month. Well, that particular year, 1453, the Ottomans were now in their final assault on the Byzantine Empire. And in the middle of the month, there was a total eclipse. The middle of the month, May 14th, 1453. 2 weeks later, Constantinople fell and it became Istanbul. There's your 2 weeks. 391 years later, you come to 1844, the day that the Messiah was supposed to be finishing his work in the most holy place as the high priest and preparing to return to deliver his people. As we well know, the Bible showed us in Revelation chapter 7, let's take a look there, why that didn't happen. There was a delay. Actually, let's look at, and we know this scripture, but for those people that have never read it, and this is the thing, again, you know what I'm about to say. Y'all know what I'm about to say, and I'm not going to stop saying it till the day the Most High takes my breath away. Read this book. Start at Genesis. Go through all 66 divisions till you get to Revelation. Read through Revelation, chapter 22, all the way to verse 21. Start at Genesis 1:1 and go straight through. Pray to your Father for the spirit of wisdom, the spirit of understanding and discernment, that he may make known to you his words. And ask for the power of his grace, that you might be obedient to his words. And keep reading, and keep reading, and keep reading. And the Father will guide you in paths of life and light. The path of the just is as a shining light that shineth more and more unto the perfect day. Light and truth are advancing. There's no depth to the truth and light that this word could give you. Don't let somebody tell you, oh, you need to get this missing book or that missing book. That is designed to confuse you. It's not that confusing. See, stay with the word. 66 books have been given to us. 66 have been given to us. Read them. What's not revealed is not for you to know. And that's very little, actually. What's revealed is for you and your children. Moses told us forever. Read the book. So many people have a lot of things to say about the Bible, having never read it. I remember one time, man, some Muslim dude came up on me talking about, you should come to this study of the Quran. We talk about the Bible. And I said, that's the problem. He said, what do you mean? I said, you talk about it. You use it, but you've never read it. No, I've read it. I said, you read parts of it. Have you started at Genesis and read the Revelation? No, then you ain't read it. How do you know the Quran is not the truth? Because you know what? Once you find pure gold, you found pure gold. You see what I'm saying? Once I have a pearl of great price, what I need to go looking for more pearls for? Once I have the standard of righteousness, what I need something else for? Not only that, this word tells me there is no other. The Most High said, I am the Most High. There's none beside me. And he's only chosen one people. You, he said, have I chosen above all the families of the earth. So what else I need then? If he's telling me that, either I believe it or I don't. No. If you're a Muslim, you can choose not to believe that. That's no problem. That's on you. That's your business. But me, that's for me and my house. I'm completely satisfied with the power of this word and the prophetic utterance it has given me. It has guided my life prophetically for a whole 61 years. Prophetically. Showed me things, showed me places before I got there. By his spirit and his word. What I need to look someplace else for? Nah. I don't care if you don't want to read the Bible. That's your business, but don't come to me with that. That's what I'm saying. My personal testimony is I've read this word. I'm in now the 11th month of the 19th reading of it. Okay. And many of y'all follow with us. We started last year. Remember, we started April. And now this is February, the 11th month of the Hebrew year. Okay, almost done with the 19th reading. And by the grace of the Most High, if He should give me life, I will start the 20th reading and continue. Praise the Most High. And every time I read it, it brings me more light than I had before. Every time. That's why we do the study of the book of Revelation, often as we will. That's why we continually read through books like Deuteronomy and Ezekiel and Jeremiah and Isaiah, because He's always there is no depth, there is no height you could reach where you've learned everything. Okay, there's none. It's infinite. If the Bible says about the Most High, His understanding is infinite, that's in perpetuity. There's no end to it. You can always keep learning. And I found in the 19 times I've read through this book, I always learn more each time. Each time. Okay? All the time. Praise the Most High. There's no problem how fast you're doing it. It's no problem, Azariah. Just keep going. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Just keep going. He that endures to the end, right? That endurance indicates marathon, indicates long term, indicates continuation. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. Remember that. Just keep going. Don't stop. Keep going. Okay? You might think you're not picking something up or it sounds complicated to you, but believe me, if from experience, I'm telling you, there's going to come a time in the future of your life where it's going to be brought plain to you. And you're going to remember you read it. And He's going to show you why. It's a spiritual exercise, y'all. Okay? But here in Revelation, we're going to look at chapter 6 from verse 12. We got to start there. Y'all know where I'm going, right? Some of y'all. But for y'all that are new to it, I can't assume everybody's read this before. In fact, I must assume the opposite, right? So let's go at verse 12 of Revelation chapter 6, the sixth seal, because now we're getting ready to go into the sixth trumpet. But the sixth seal from 12 to 17, notice what it says. And I beheld, we had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood, and the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island removed out of their places. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of His wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? Again, what we're seeing here is the description of the return of Messiah. Okay? And the question that is asked at the end of that description, who shall be able to stand in the day of His wrath? Who shall be able to stand in the day of Father Yah and of the Lamb? The question is asked and then answered in the following chapter. Verse 1, chapter 7. And after these things, I saw four angels standing on the four corners of the earth, holding the four winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living Most High. And he cried with a loud voice to the four angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our Most High in their foreheads. So He's ascending with the seal. Of course, having an angel ascending means He first had to what? Descend. So He came to descend with His seal, but He ascended back without sealing anybody. Why? Because the people that were supposed to be sealed were not prepared to be sealed. And He said, hold those winds until we have sealed them. Then He tells you who they are. Verse 4, and I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. The 144,000, as we have seen, are representatives of the 12 tribes. They are the Levite priests that the Most High said, I'm going to prepare them so that they can offer an offering in righteousness. They're the ones that have been called by Yah to teach his people. To teach his people the law, the statutes, the judgment, the commandments of the Father. And they are planted in each one of the 12 tribes. Each one, as we have seen. Then we see that these men are called forth to receive a seal and give a message as witnesses to the truth of the faith of righteousness. Okay, and that's why there was a delay in 1844. The Edict of Toleration was when Turkish Empire, well, the Ottoman Empire, issued to some European nations, saying to them they were no longer going to kill infidels from Islam that were in their land. In other words, they weren't going to kill Christians. And that was the sign of the beginning of the waning of power of the Ottoman Empire. And later on in the 20th century, it fell. The Ottoman Empire fell in the 20th century. Okay, so that was the beginning of the end of that and the beginning of the preparation work for the 144,000 who were not born at that time, but are now on the earth and are being prepared to give a message of teaching, of truth, of power, to prepare Yah's chosen ones for the soon return of the Messiah, which is getting ready to take place in our time, in our lifetime right now, as we are reading the book of Revelation. Praise the Most High. So here we know this is the sixth seal. We are getting ready to study the sixth trumpet. And it started off with the Edict of Toleration, which we saw with the 391 years and 15 days. Okay, so it started in 1453 and ended in the summer, late spring of 1844. Later on that year, we know what happened. Messiah was supposed to be completing his work of atonement. But we know why. Just now we read why it would not be complete at that time. And now we understand the focus of the Father. Also, what we understand is this. The Ottoman Empire, listen carefully what I'm about to say because it's going to shock some people, but I'm going by what we have already read. The Ottoman Empire represented the last form of Islamic aggression. So somebody might ask, what about ISIS? What about the Taliban? What about these groups of what they call them? Islamic extremism. Where are they coming from? Well, let me ask you. We studied the book of Revelation, chapter 13. Who are the powers that are controlling the earth right now? Who are the powers that are controlling the earth right now? From the children of Yafet. Who are those powers, brethren? Talk to me. Those Bible students out there. What nation? Right. There you go. So let's put it to you this way. I don't want to be censored unnecessarily. I have to choose my battles. Y'all know what I'm saying, right? So look, that entity that you named with the three letters there, Castle King, who is the model? Where did they develop their techniques from? Who is the group that they are copying? Name that group that they modeled themselves after. That's the city of the group. But what's brother Mark? Y'all see what Brother Mark said? That's it. So they modeled themselves after that group, and they do the same thing. Okay, don't they? Yes. So now we're on the same page. Okay. Now, let me ask you. Let me bring you a true example of something, and you tell me what would be the result. You'll understand when I say it. So, you're a little boy. You live with a poor family. Your daddy works hard. Your mother takes care of the home. Okay. You got brothers and sisters. Maybe you're the oldest one. Maybe you're 12 years old. Now, one day, out of the blue, a bomb comes, a missile strikes your village, kills half the village, including your whole family, and you're the only one left. Now, you hear about what country sent this missile to kill your village. You had no war with this country. You had no aught with them. And yet, they bombed your village and killed your family. You find that there are hundreds like you who are left, from little boys and little girls, from this same entity that did the same thing to them. Somebody says, let's bind together and fight back against this enemy. Would you understand if they did that? Would that be something you'd understand? Would you see why they would do such a thing? Would you understand why such a situation would come up and why they would want to band together to fight this enemy? Do you understand that? Yes, that's exactly how it works. Now, let's take it a step further. And I don't think I'm being unreasonable or ridiculous in what I'm saying to you. I think we all understand these things really did happen and do happen. Okay, let's say that enemy needed a reason to come into your country. Maybe you have oil, or maybe you have other assets, or maybe they just want to control the real estate. So they have a reason to come into your country. So they purposely did that, and then they send people that you think are your brothers in the same faith, but they really are not. They really work for that three-letter entity from that country. They really work for them, but they're telling you they're your brothers in this struggle. And together, you're going to rise up and fight this enemy. Yes. Then the enemy can say to his people, look what these extremists are doing. Why are they attacking us? We haven't done nothing to them. Why are they doing this? They're going to threaten the existence of our country. We need to fight them. And now you understand why there is a Taliban, why there is an Islamic State, why there is an ISIS, why there is a Boko, why these people exist. Now you understand. Okay? And you also understand what the purpose is. So that this is not the movement of the Ottoman Empire anymore. This is a different thing, which is why 1844 becomes significant. The development of the 144,000, right? The Hegelian dialectic, the powers of the earth, and why it said in the book of Revelation, what does this entity do? It deceiveth the earth by the means of those miracles which it had power to do in the sight of the beast. You remember that, right? It deceiveth the earth by the means of those miracles that had power. Deception, brethren. This whole existence that we are now in, the whole thing is based on deception. The only truth, the only way we can know truth, you understand? That's the only way. It's, you know, the Apostle Paul said that the Most High chose the what do you call it? The foolishness of preaching to awaken people, right? In this day, the foolishness of this 166 division book. As you all are bear witness, this is what we have been studying. That's all. You haven't seen me with an Apocrypha or a book of Enoch or even a different type of Bible, no NIV or NASB or Douay Bible. You haven't seen me with any of that. Just this book. Okay, that's it. And it's showing us everything. I mean, it's almost crazy how it shows us what? It shows us what the devil's thoughts are, doesn't it? It shows us what he's thinking, what his plans are. It reveals and exposes how those plans are, shows us everything. And because we can't really tell the whole earth, you know why? Because they'll say we're crazy. because they believe the whole basis of lies. The entire earth, the Bible says, the devil deceiveth the whole world. He's a deceiver and a liar. Messiah said he was a liar from the beginning, a liar and a murderer. He said there's no truth in him. He said when he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. Everything is exposed in this book. It exposes everything. So they brought forth this religion, Christianity. Man, it must represent God. I mean, Jesus is in the Bible. Until you actually read the Bible and you know who this Jesus Christ is that they're really talking about. He ain't no soft, effeminate, homosexual looking man. That's not him. He's the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root and the offspring of David. And he coming with great noise and violence to do business. They tried to make him into the image of the children of Japhet, this Hebrew man with woolly hair. Nah, that's not him. Nah. And you can know right now, just from what we studied, Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, Japhet. He had 3 sons. The whole earth is populated by one of Noah's sons. Either you from the Ham tribe, the Japhet tribe, or the Shemite tribe. I don't care how much mixing has been done in your bloodline. You originate, and I originate with one of them 3. Okay? And Japhet is prophetically uttered by Noah, he shall dwell in the Shem of Tem. Shem, that's what's going on. So you know right now, any entity started by the children of Japhet is not of Yah. You got to know that. Just from looking at that. Yah chose Shem. And then Shem's grandson, Eber, where you get the word Hebrew. Abraham didn't choose himself. Abraham was his name. Yah said, I call you, and I'm going to call your name Abraham. Abraham said, oh, you see, I'm going to have a blessed seed? Okay, let me get with this Egyptian woman. Let me get with her. My wife said I could get with her. And we have a child, Ishmael. This must be the chosen. He said, nah, I didn't call Ishmael. I'm going to bless him because that's your seed. But nah, that your old lady. Remember back in the day, some of y'all old as me. You know we used to call our woman our old lady, right? Remember that? Remember that? She said, this is my old man. He said, look, your old lady, I'm gonna bring the seed from your old lady. And she was old, wasn't she? And he was old. She laughed. She said, I'm going to have pleasure at age 90 with my Lord, and he going to have pleasure with me. And the angel said, why you laugh? And she said, I didn't laugh. She said, I didn't laugh. He said, you laugh. And you're going to call the son to laugh. His name is Yasha'ak, to laugh. Yasha'ak said, okay, I'm going to have a blessed seed. But man, I've been married to my woman for 20 years. My old lady, I'm now 60 years old. We ain't got no children. Right? Then she got pregnant. But she was having problems in the womb. Them babies was fighting each other in the womb. And she said, man, if it be so, in other words, if I'm the mother of a blessed child, why is all this going on? He said, 2 nations are in your womb. And he said, the elder shall serve the younger. So the elder came out and he was all hairy and dark red. And the younger one came out with, what we know now is the Hebrew type of skin. Usually we're not very hairy generally, right? The Hebrews are not very hairy, smooth skin, right? He was brown, right? They called him Jacob because he was slick. He held on to his brother's heel, called him Jacob. But Jacob had a lot to learn. He had a lot to learn. And he had to learn the hard way. When he got to be 60 years old, he learned some things. And one of the things he learned, as the angel told him, your name not Jacob no more. Your name is right with the Most High. Yashar Al, which they call Israel. That's your name. So the father gave Abraham a new name. He named Isaac before he was born, and he changed Jacob's name to Israel. And he said, I have chosen your seed above all the people of the earth. And I'm going to punish them hard when they sin against me. But they're always going to be my chosen. That's these 144,000. Scattered, according to Bible prophecy. Which is why 1844 becomes important. It shows us a lot. Shows us now the taking of sin off of Yah's chosen. And he said, he told us in the book of Ezekiel, he said, you embarrassed me. He said, y'all went worse than the heathen where I sent you. You blaspheme my name. But I'm going to still call you back. For his own, I'm going to still call you back. He said, if the heaven could change, if you could change the way the stars and the sun roll, then you can change Israel from being my chosen people. No matter what they've done, I'm bringing them back. Praise the Most High. I just told you the whole story of redemption in the Old Testament. Praise the Most High. So now, that's right. Exactly, brother. That's right. My father didn't even say that. He just said, man, get me that whip. Where's my belt? Get me that extension cord. Like, oh no, Dad. Yeah, man. It wasn't this hurt me more than it hurt you. Boy, didn't I tell you? Yes, indeed, brethren. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Now, we can't do that with the children today. But the Most High has shown me, speaking of that, we have to raise our children sternly between age 0 and like 3. If you get them right between 0 and 3, they're going to be good. Okay, 0, 3, 0, 5. You can get them, but the Bible, when a child is weaned, they 5 years old when they wean. Okay, that's the Bible showing. In Bible times, they was on the breast till they was 5. Okay, and so that's the real how you raise children right between 0 and 5. You're gonna have some good kids. Every year they get older, it gets a little tougher. Okay, and there's a point where there's, oh man, it's a miracle. That's why salvation's a miracle. Most of us ain't been raised right, but the Most High is good, isn't it? Praise the Most High, yeah. So anyway, that's where we at today. Praise the Most High, Brother Frazier. But this is where we at today. So now, here we are in the 6th trumpet. Now, we read about the attack of the Islam on the Christians, right? The Ottoman against the Byzantine Empire. And then we read about, and we just talked about the Edict of Tolerance in 1844, right on time, according to Bible prophecy, 1844. Now, from 1844, we're dealing with what the Messiah is doing. That's the focus now. Okay, what the Messiah is doing now. Have y'all ever heard this phrase? It's a modern phrase, but it's an old thing. It's called a cult of personality. What does that mean? Like, they use Donald Trump as the example. They say Donald Trump has taken over the Republican Party and they're following him because of a cult of personality. Have you ever heard that? It's been in the news a lot, since he was elected president. Even now, they call it a cult of personality. Now, don't focus on Trump. Focus on that term. What does that term mean? The cult of personality. That means people get so caught up in a person based on their charismatic gift or their ability to arrest your attention or to inspire you, that they exalt that person and they'll follow that person because of their personality. It's called the cult of personality. And we know that when Eve took the forbidden fruit, one of the false promises given to her was, Yah doth know that in the day you eat thereof, what? You shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. So the promise was that man can be a god. Okay? So since then, all society that's controlled by the devil, what the Bible calls the world, the lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, pride of life. That's man making himself a God. Okay, that's all in every area of life, religion, business, every area, man making himself a God. Like, for example, my son, my oldest boy, was seeing some girl. This is 20 years ago, and I did not like the girl. The girl had the nerve to email me talking about, I'm gonna take your son's gonna be my husband because I am his light. That's what she told me. She said, I am his light. See, that's the theme of what we're dealing with today. Okay, so people do that in every area. Like when you read the Bible, even you look at Moses and people say, oh, Moses, right? Or Paul, if you're a Christian, they exalt these men, but they're looking at it from the lens of the cult of personality, because the glory goes to Father Yah alone. It's not about Moses being some super extraordinary man. It's the glory of what Father is showing us. When I choose a man, this is what I can make him become. You see what I'm saying? See the difference? When I choose a man, I'll take a man that was raised out of the Nile River, and look what I will do with him. Or I'll take a man that hated my son, and I'll make him a champion for me. That's the glory of the Father. You understand? That's the difference. Now you're not worshiping man. You're not glorifying the man. You're glorifying the Father that built him. Okay? So, Messiah's purpose as high priest is to cause his chosen to be made into Father's image. And he does that by being the sacrifice for their sins, taking the sins off of the man and replacing it with the Father's Spirit, the Holy Ghost of perfect righteousness. And we become what? The workmanship of the Most High. You understand? We become his workmanship. That's what the Bible calls us. We are his workmanship. It's not us because, we're smarter or bigger or stronger or faster. That's the world. The world does that. They exalt a person because, wow, this one could really sing. Oh, man, this one blesses us with their gift and their talent. And they exalt the person like that. That's not what the Father does. The Father shows, he'll take the lowest ones. He'll take the ones that nobody knows. And he'll say, this is what I will do with a nobody. This is what I will do with a man or a woman. This is what I do. So the glory goes to Yah. You understand? So Messiah's high priestly ministry is to cause Yah to get glory as Yah uses Messiah's ministry to bring perfection to his people. Okay, that's why he uses the true Hebrews are the Bible says in want of all things, a byword. They call us niggas and monkeys and spicks. They call us all of those names. We're a byword among the nations, right? Redskins and redbacks, right? But he said, watch me take these and make them my chosen. Watch me take these and make them glorify my name in their character. Watch me take these and base my new kingdom on them. You see what I'm saying? So it's the glory of the Father. So why did I bring that up? Well, we're looking at the sixth trumpet now. And so we saw the end. It showed us the end in 1844 of the aggression of Islam. And so that we understand now that any aggression you're seeing that's representing Islam is not based in Islam. And we know what powers it's based in. The Bible is showing. You see how the Bible shows us everything, man? I'm just amazed. Even myself, I'm amazed at what it shows us when you really read, and it reveals all the secrets of Asatan and everything he's trying to do, opens it up for us. But now, this part now, what we're getting ready to read in the sixth trumpet is showing now the focus is on what Yah is going to do through the high priestly ministry of Messiah to his downtrodden and at that time enslaved people, and how he's going to prepare them to be his glory. You understand? That's what's going on right now. It's for his glory. Okay? So now that's why we're here in Revelation chapter 10. Now, we're going to be going back and forth between Revelation in this particular sense here. We're going to be going back and forth between Revelation and the book of Daniel. Okay, we're going to be going back and forth because now, in fact, let's start off in Daniel. Let me show you why. And we read this before, but I want to keep bringing it to you because it keeps the focus on what we're doing here, so you don't get confused. Okay, because that's not the deal here to get confused. All right, so look at Daniel chapter 12. Okay, watch Daniel chapter 12. Now, again, I said this before, but again, just it can't hurt to repeat these things. So Daniel's chapters 10, 11, and 12 is one thought, one entity, one situation. Okay, it's all the same thing. So Gabriel, Messiah came, remember, Messiah came, and he had to come because Gabriel was fighting with Asatan. Gabriel had received the message from Messiah to bring to Daniel. As the Bible shows us, that's the work. Father, Messiah, angel, prophet. That's how it comes, right? So Gabriel received this message from Messiah to come to Daniel with it. Asatan, seeing him on his way, was stopping him, and they had a fight for 3 full weeks. These are angels. These are higher beings than us. This ain't no fight for 15 rounds. This is 3 weeks they battled. Okay? Until Messiah had to come himself and remove Asatan out of Gabriel's way. Gabriel saw Messiah standing on the river, and he was overwhelmed, just like John was. And Gabriel came and told Daniel everything that we now see as chapters 11 and 12 of the book of Daniel. That's Gabriel showing Daniel. Okay, he's telling Daniel everything. And he told Daniel, and notice this, in Daniel chapter 10, at the end of Daniel 10, he tells Daniel something. He, again, when Gabriel shows up, he usually brings some sort of news, or so he says something profound. He does. He said it to Zechariah when he was telling him about John the Baptist. He said it to Daniel when Daniel was praying in Daniel chapter 9. Now he said here something else. And Daniel, if you just take Gabriel's statements, they're powerful. But here in Daniel chapter 10, he starts off like this, verse 19. I would start verse 18. Daniel 10 from verse 18 to verse 21. Daniel chapter 10, 18 to 21. Then there came again and touched me one like the appearance of a man, and he strengthened me. And he said, O man, greatly beloved, fear not. Peace be unto thee. Be strong. Yea, be strong. And when he had spoken unto me, I was strengthened. That's because angels carry the spirit, right? So he said, when he had said, be strong, he strengthened. He said, well, you strengthened me. And I said, let my Lord speak, for thou hast strengthened me. Then said he, knowest thou wherefore I come unto thee? And now will I return to fight with the prince of Persia. And when I am gone forth, lo, the prince of Grecia shall come. But I will show thee that which is noted in the scripture of truth. And there is none that holdeth with me in these things, but Michael, your prince, because he received the message from Messiah. Messiah received the message from the Father. Remember? The revelation of Jesus Christ, the revelation of Messiah, Yahushua, which Yah gave unto him to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass. And he sent and signified it by his angel unto his servant John. So we see Father gives a message to Messiah. Messiah gives that message to the angel, and the angel gives that message to the chosen messengers on the earth. Okay? In this case, Daniel is the chosen messenger. Gabriel is the angel. Okay? So Gabriel is saying, the only one that knows more about this than me is your prince Michael, who is Messiah. Okay? Mikael, one like who is like the Most High. Mikael. He said, there's only one that knows more than me about these things. That's your prince Michael. Other than that, nobody could deal with me on this knowledge. Okay, so now Gabriel begins there and goes all the way through chapter 11 and all the way through chapter 12 to tell Daniel what's coming. Okay, what shall come upon his people. All right, and so here we are in chapter 12, Daniel chapter 12. I'm going to read just the first verse to understand what this is about. Again, notice what it says, Daniel chapter 12, verse 1. And at that time, Gabriel, remember, it's Gabriel speaking here. He's speaking to Daniel. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth, and here's the key thing, for the children of thy people. Think about that for a second. Who is Daniel? Where does he come from? Daniel was taken to Babylon from the kingdom of Judah, and he was of the royal seed from Judah. And so Gabriel is saying the great Prince Michael is going to stand up at that time. At what time? The time of the end, where we live. And he's standing for a particular group of people. That's the key thing here. He said he standeth for the children, Daniel, of your people. The children of Israel. He's standing for the children, Daniel, of your people. Y'all catching that? He said the great prince. Everybody tries to focus and argue about Michael in this verse. They're missing the whole point. That's not even worth arguing about. What we talk about, what is he doing? He is standing for the children of Daniel's people. That's the future from where Daniel was. He said at that time, Michael's going to stand up. And he, great prince, he said, that standeth for the children of your people. So it's not for you, Daniel, necessarily right now, but in the future, your bloodline, your people, those children, he's standing for. Okay, that's us. That's us. All right. Then he said, at that time, you will know it. Why? Because there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that time. We are already seeing the beginnings of that. The volcanoes erupting all over the earth. You all heard about the one in the Pacific Ocean the other day. If you look closer, they're erupting all over the earth. They're erupting in Italy. They're erupting in Africa. They're erupting all in the United States. They're erupting all over the earth, these volcanoes. That's not even talking about the typhoons, the tornadoes, the earthquakes all over. We're not even dealing with that. That's all happening right now. We're talking about, they're dealing, science is talking about that there's pressures, unmeasurable pressures, and I'm not even exaggerating, of natural gas under the U.S., under Canada, under the Arctic, under Africa, under Europe, and it's forcing its way up. Different types of poisonous gas. And sometimes it has killed whole villages of people because you can't smell it or know that it's there, but it's coming from under the earth. The earth is reeling, just like the Bible says, to and fro, because the curse of man is upon it. It's already started. And we're not even dealing with what we talk about, the economic corruption on planet Earth right now. The war and the thirst and lust for power and control that's in the political world. We're not even dealing with the money's issues, the disease issues all over the planet. We're seeing the beginning right now. And of course, we're always, what? We're going to have war with who now? Is it Ukraine or is it China? The next world war is coming, y'all. It's coming. Okay? Beef is coming. All of this happening now. And so, brothers and sisters, you're seeing the beginning of it right now. A time of trouble such as never was. Okay? That's right. There you go. Mark, see? It's happening all over the earth. Okay? They got a big one there in the middle of Africa. It's I forgot it's not Rwanda, but it's a nation that neighbors Rwanda. Huge volcano getting ready to go off and already pushing up gas through the earth. And they had children, they were playing in a field. And the field with the grass turned yellow and they died because it was gas from the volcano coming up from the earth. And they couldn't smell it. Poor kids just died right there in the field. And a scientist came and he lit off a flare, like a flare you would use if your truck would stop on the side of the road. You put out these flares so people can see you. Well, he lit off a flare, and the flare, the fire came off the grass and made a smoke over the grass. And he said everything under that smoke, everything under the cloud that's not touching the ground, if you go under there, you'll die because it's poison. Okay, and they couldn't smell it. It's happening all over the planet. Okay. And I remember I was telling my wife years ago, like 20 years ago, I met a man and he was telling me, he said, in Nova Scotia in Canada, he said, there's so many billions and billions of pounds of pressure on the earth from the natural gas coming from Canada. He said if that was to break out, it would burn the ozone. That was 20 years ago. Okay, so the pressures are coming from all of these different angles. The rise in the temperature, the rise in the water levels from the Arctic. All of these things are happening. The unprecedented levels of poverty all around the earth where people are homeless in unprecedented numbers. It's all happening right now at the same time. You're going to next see a religious revival of Christianity and Islam. You're going to see that. It's already started. It's coming. Okay. So all of these movements are showing us the end of this age, the end of this order, this world order that we're now in, the end of Babylon. And that's what Revelation is talking about. Okay. So here in Daniel chapter 12, we're talking about Daniel's being told by Gabriel, there's going to come a time when the children of your people are going to have a prince to stand for them. And they're going to be delivered if they're written in the book. Look, Revelation, Daniel 12:1. At that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered. Everyone that shall be found written in the book. Praise the Most High. We are there, brethren. And we're going to show through the word, not only are we there, but how it's going to show us how we're going to be delivered. Praise the Most High. But it says right there, every one of us going to be delivered. We don't got to worry about where we are. If the Most High put you near a volcano, don't worry. You're going to be delivered. If he got you on an island, and when it's moved away, don't worry. You're going to be delivered. He promises deliverance. Don't worry about that. Remember, brothers and sisters, one of the signs of the chosen people in these days is our focus on the glory of Father Yah. That's it. Whether in life or death, our focus is the glory of the Father. We cannot bring the Father any higher glory than if we obey his word. Obedience to his word and the receiving of his spirit, the trust in the Father. That's the watchword for us. Okay, that's for us. Don't matter how old we are, don't matter how smart we are. That's none of that matters, because the glory is to the Father. Let me tell you something. He could take a person that never know how to read or write and make them into a high-level genius anytime he wants to. Believe that. Anytime he wants to. For his glory. All right. Don't. It's about Father Yah. You know, you got people writing books about how they got rich as if you could find, if you want what he has, go do what he did. No, man. This ain't the glory of man. No. I don't care how rich you are. Money can't cause you to not die. It can't do that. You're going to die. Where your money going in? And there's no timetable. Just because a man's 21 don't mean he don't die. You see 16-year-old, 15-year-old kids getting shot down every day in the United States. Come on now. Who said you're going to live to be any certain age? That's it. Brother was 40 years old, died of a heart attack right on his couch after he come home from work. Brethren, there's no guaranteed limit about how long we're going to live. Not on this planet, not at this time. This planet is filled with violence and disease and death and greed. Please, that's where we at. That's the truth about it. Here, Daniel chapter 12. So look, let's skip down in Daniel 12. Now, Gabriel's going to tell Daniel what to do with this book, that is prophecy that he's been given. This whole prophecy of Daniel. Notice what it says. Daniel chapter 12, beginning at verse 4. Beginning at verse 4. And I'm going to read from verse 4 and down to verse 9. Daniel chapter 12, from verse 4 to verse 9. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words, and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. So he's telling, Daniel is being told, the words of this prophecy, nobody's going to understand until the time of the end. But at the time of the end, the knowledge, and people think of it, general knowledge, computers and telephones and cell phones and all that, But no, this is knowledge of this word. Knowledge of prophecy. is going to be increased. See, he said, time and the end, many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. But right now, the book is sealed. He's telling Daniel, the book is sealed. Okay. Then Daniel looked, and behold, there stood two, the one on this side of the bank of the river, and the other on that side of the bank of the river. Two angels on the sides of the river, and Messiah standing on the river. Okay. And one said to the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, how long shall it be to the end of these wonders? And I heard the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, when he held up his right hand and his left hand. Mark that now, because we're going to see it again in Revelation chapter 10. When he held up his right hand and his left hand unto heaven, and swear by him that liveth forever and ever, that it shall be for a time, times and a half, when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people. All these things shall be finished. And I heard, but I understood not. Then said I, O my master, what shall be the end of these things? And he said, go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed to the time of the end. So we wouldn't understand these things until now, until after 1844. That's when we would have understanding of these words. And brethren, here we are. Here we are. The word is being opened to us. Okay. And that's what people really are confused by Christianity about the Messiah in multiple ways. And one of the ways they're confused is when Messiah is called the Word of the Most High. He is the Word. He is Father's Word made flesh. And by Messiah, we get to the Father. By Messiah, he is revealed to us his word. Okay? Revealed to us his word. Praise the Most High. Most people just misunderstand Messiah and his mission, man. His mission was to glorify the Father and prepare Israel for translation. That's his mission. First paying the penalty for their sins, and then perfecting them and getting them ready for translation into the kingdom of Father. That's okay. And he do that by bringing them close to the word, because he became the word made flesh. And that's why people get very confused when he said, love your enemies. People get this confused. Love your enemies. Do good to them that hate you. Pray for them that despitefully use you and persecute you. First of all, he was talking to Hebrews against Hebrews. What we call today black on black crime. That's what he's talking about. Black on black crime. You see, you understand it when you see it that way. He was only talking to Hebrews. Love your enemies. Do good to them and hate you. Pray for them. Black on black crime. Don't we always say we need to stop fighting each other? Don't we always say that? Didn't Malcolm X say, brothers, let's not allow enemies to separate us? Didn't he say that? That's what Messiah was teaching. He wasn't talking about allowing police officers' dogs to bite us. He said, stop the killing each other. Not only that, he was telling the Israelites, listen, don't mess with the Romans. Why would he say that? Why would he imply don't mess with the Romans? The Romans was given charge over Israel. They weren't an independent nation. The Romans were controlling them. And why? Because of the sins. Because they were making their own religion up. Ain't no Sanhedrin in the Bible. And they were doing backdoor deals with the Edomites and the Romans. They weren't no independent nation. They were being paid to keep the people under control. Wait a minute. Is that happening today with the so-called black leaders? Are they being paid to keep us under control? Come on now. So, yeah. Nothing changed. There's nothing new under the sun. And that's why he's telling them, don't fight with these Romans now, because the Most High had him here, just like he had Nebuchadnezzar. Jeremiah said, surrender to the Babylonians and you'll live. That's what he said. Surrender to them. Don't fight with them. Why? Because they were there because of the sins of the sins of Israel. Okay? So it was prophesied that the children of Yefet would be in charge of this earth in the last days. They're going to get what they got coming. But you know what? Don't fight with them. Our fight is not with the children of Yefet. We are supposed to. It's like Malcolm X said, common sense said, you're not going to let somebody roll up on your house in the middle of the night, say, bring that little nigga Emmett out here. You're not going to do that. No. We're going to go down shooting in, but We're not trying our best to get into no trouble with y'all. We be peaceful with y'all. But you come rolling up on us with sheets on, I'm going to bust a cap in your behind. You understand? We have no problem with y'all. Our fight is not with the children of your faith. It's between us and our Father. And when we settle that, don't matter then. Don't matter. What they do don't matter. What their plans are don't matter. Father's plan is going to come to pass. You understand? So our fight's not with them. Our fight's not with the so-called white man. Our fight's not with him. Again, not that we're supposed to let him roll up on us and do what he wants, but we got to be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. Okay? You get a poisonous snake backed into a corner when he's trying to get away, he'll kill you. But if he can avoid the trap, he'll get away. Messiah told us everything. But Christianity, making him into this effeminate, soft Caucasian man and then telling us we need to worship him, please. Nah. I say nah. Follow the word of the Most High. Forget that. Follow the word. Follow the word. Read it for yourself. Read the whole thing. And read it again. It'll tell you something different than what you've been taught. And what I've been taught. Tell you something different. Okay. Anyway, so we just saw Daniel chapter 12. Remember the right hand and left hand lifted up, right? Okay. Let's go now to Revelation chapter 10. Revelation chapter 10. Let's start at verse 1. Revelation 10, verse 1. I'm going to read from verse 1 down to verse 2. I'm from 1 to 3. Okay. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. I'm going to read from verse 1 to 5. Revelation chapter 10 from 1 to 5. Revelation chapter 10 from 1 to 5. Okay. Notice what it says. And I saw another mighty angel come down from heaven, clothed with a cloud. That should tell you something right there. Messiah is a messenger, right? So they could use the word angel. They don't necessarily have to use Michael, but he's coming with a cloud. There's only one that does that. Okay. All right. So there you go. And rainbow was upon his head, and his face was as it were the sun, and his feet as pillars of fire. And he had in his hand a little book open, and he set his right foot upon the sea and his left foot on the earth, and cried with a loud voice as when a lion roareth. And when he had cried, 7 thunders uttered their voices. And when the 7 thunders had uttered their voices, I was about to write. And I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, seal up those things which the 7 thunders uttered, and write them not. And the angel which I saw stand upon the sea and upon the earth lifted up his hand to heaven. There you go. Okay, so before we continue, thunder. What does that represent? Come on, talk to me now. What is thunder? 7 thunders. 7 thunders uttered their voices. And he was about to write what the 7 thunders said. And it was told, don't write that. That's right. Thunder is Father Yah's voice. Thunder is always Father Yah's voice. The thunder represents Father Yah. Messiah's voice can be in 3 different ways. It could be in the voice of a man. It could be in the voice of a trumpet or the sound of many waters. Those are the 3 voices of Messiah. So when you hear that, when you see sound of many waters, or you see a voice of a trumpet, or you hear the man's voice, that's Messiah. Father voice is thunder or voice of a man. He could speak obviously as a man. He made man. Right? So he could speak as a man or he could speak as thunder. So you hear thunder, that's the Most High's voice. So what's going on here? You see Messiah come down from heaven. He has a little book in his hand. Well, what do you suppose? The little book that's sealed up, right? And he cried with a loud voice as a lion roareth. So you got this being, he comes with clouds. He roars like a lion. Who is that? Come on now. Who is that? He comes with clouds and he roars like a lion. Who is that comes with the clouds and roars like a lion? Behold, the Bible says he comes with clouds. Every eye shall see him, and them also which pierced him. Behold, he came to the throne of the Ancient of Days with the clouds of heaven. That's the Messiah. Okay, that's the Messiah. Now, he roared like a lion, the lion of the tribe of Judah, right? Then when he said something, Father said something. Some 7 thunders uttered their voice, and I was about to write. And I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, seal up those things which the 7 thunders uttered, and write them not. So what the Father said, he was about to write it down. Because John was told, write the things that you see and hear. So he was going to write. And he was told, wait, don't write that. Don't write that. Don't write what you just heard. Why? Let's take a look. Revelation chapter 10. Let's start again at verse 5. And let's go from verse 5 down to verse 7. Okay? Revelation chapter 10, 5 through 7. We got a lot more to cover in here, but I just want to get this part down, okay? So Revelation chapter 10 from 5 to 7. This is all, remember now, the 6th trumpet. Remember that. 6th trumpet. That's where we at right now. This is from 1844. Okay? And the angel which I saw, when I say from 1844, from then to now. Okay? Not exclusive to that 1 year, from then to now. Okay? And the angel which I saw stand upon the sea and upon the earth, lift up his hand to heaven, just like in Daniel 12, and swear by him that liveth forever and ever, who created heaven and the things that therein are, and the earth and the things that therein are, and the sea and the things which are therein, that there should be time no longer. He's declaring the end of time. That is, time of this age, of this system, of this order. Okay, verse 7. Watch verse 7. But in the days of the voice of the 7th angel, when he shall begin to sound, the mystery of Yah should be finished, as he has declared to his servants the prophets. Now, question time. Time for a test question. Here's a quiz question. Ready? What's the mystery that only Father knows? Thundered, and he was going to write, and he was told, don't write that. But there's a mystery that's going to be finished. That's right. Only Father knows the return of the Messiah. And he said that the mystery should be finished, as he hath what? Declared to his servants, the prophets. Okay? Israelite men are going to be shown the return of the Messiah. Are you following that so far? Israelite men are going to be shown, because who are the servants? Remember what it said. Don't destroy the earth until we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads. And I heard the number of them which were sealed. And there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. So the mystery should be finished, as he has shown to his servants. And the book, the little book, is Daniel. That's the book. The prophecies of Daniel is the book in his hand. Remember, he said, seal up those things until the time of the end. Well, 1844, that started the time of the end. 1844 started that. Why? Because Messiah is in the most holy place. In the next move, okay, here's another question. You ready? Here's another question. You ready? Okay. Day of Atonement on the 10th day of the 7th month. Day of Atonement starts with the trumpets. This is not a feast, as commonly reported. Neither is it the end of the year, as commonly reported. But we know there are 3 appointed feasts, and in between the 2nd and 3rd feast, there is these blowing of trumpets. There is a Day of Atonement, the 10th day of the 7th month of the Hebrew year. Also, coinciding with that day, every 50th year, there's a Jubilee. The next one is in 2027, right? So we have a Jubilee coinciding with the Day of Atonement. What happens after the Day of Atonement? That's a question. What happens after the Day of Atonement? What's next? What's the next happening after the Day of Atonement? What happens now? There's the Day of Atonement. There's the first month. That's right, Mark. Feast of Tabernacles, Feast of it. That's exactly right. Which, okay, second part of that same question. What does the Feast of Ingathering, Feast of Tabernacles, what does that represent? What is that? What does that represent? So each one, the Passover was the death and resurrection of Messiah, right? The Feast of Weeks, the first fruits of Messiah's sacrifice. The end of the year harvest. That's right. What does it represent? Break it, make it plain. Make it, Neveska is the return of the Messiah. The return of the Messiah and bringing his people into the kingdom. That's what the Feast of Tabernacle is. It's the harvest. It's the second coming. You got that? Okay. That's the Feast of Tabernacles. The Jubilee is on the Day of Atonement. When the Day of Atonement is done, that's the Jubilee. That's the 10th day of the 7th month. In fact, let me show you. I don't take my word for it. Let me show you the word. Let's look at it. Leviticus chapter 25. Leviticus chapter 25. Let's take a look at that. I don't want you to just take my word for it. Let's take a look. Leviticus chapter 25. Let's see here. I want to get right to it so we don't have to look at the whole thing. Let's start at we're going to have to start at verse 1. We're going to have to start at verse 1, and we're going to read from verse 1 down to I'm going to start from verse 1 and read down to verse 10, okay? So we can get the whole context, okay? Verse 9 tells you when the Jubilee takes place, just to give you that, okay? But from verse 1 to verse 10, let's read the whole thing. This is Leviticus chapter 25. It's about the Jubilee. From verse 1 to verse 10, and verse 9 tells you, and that's what I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to let you read it. Verse 9 tells you when it takes place. Okay, ready? Here we go. Leviticus chapter 25 from verse 1 to 10. And Yahweh spake unto Moses in Mount Sinai, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When ye come into the land which I give you, then shall the land keep a Sabbath unto Yahweh. 6 years thou shalt sow thy field, and 6 years thou shalt prune thy vineyard, and gather in the fruit thereof. But the 7th year shall be a Sabbath of rest unto the land, a Sabbath for Yahweh. Thou shalt neither sow thy field, nor prune thy vineyard. That which groweth of its own accord of thy harvest thou shalt not reap, neither gather the grapes of thy vine undressed, for it is a year of rest unto the land. And the Sabbath of the land shall be meat for thee, and for thy servant, and for thy maid, and for thy hired servant, and for thy stranger that sojourneth among you, for thy cattle, and for the beasts that are in thy field, that in thy land, shall all the increase thereof be meat. And thou shalt number 7 Sabbaths of years unto thee, 7 times 7 years. And the space of 7 Sabbaths of years shall be unto thee 49 years. Then, watch this, shalt thou cause the trumpet of the Jubilee to sound on the 10th day of the 7th month in the Day of Atonement. So the Jubilee day is the same day as the Day of Atonement on the 50th year, though, right? So now you have to proclaim liberty throughout all the land unto all the inhabitants. Let me go back. Verse 9. Thou shalt cause the trumpet of the Jubilee to sound on the 10th day of the 7th month. In the Day of Atonement shall ye make the trumpet sound throughout all your land. And ye shall hallow the 50th year and proclaim liberty throughout all the land unto all the inhabitants thereof. It shall be a jubilee unto you, and ye shall return every man unto his possession, and ye shall return every man unto his family. So that's the Jubilee. It takes place on the 10th day of the 7th month. That's coming in 2027. 5 days later, or in the case of prophetic time, 5 years later, is the Feast of Ingathering, the Feast of Tabernacles, the return of the Messiah. Okay? Y'all got that, everybody, so far? So good? Okay, so there you have it. So now, the 7 thunders uttered their voices. They revealed to John the return of Messiah, but he was not to write it because the servants at the end are going to receive that. And so far, what I just told you in terms of the return of Messiah during the Feast of Tabernacles, nobody believes that. And very few people even know what I just told you. You see that? And yet we use the Bible alone to discern that. You see that? We didn't need to go find any special books. Bible shows. Okay, so you know that the Passover is Messiah's death and resurrection. We know that 50 days later, Pentecost is the first fruits of his harvest. We know in between Pentecost and the Feast of Ingathering, there's a long period. So the time is long, the Bible actually said. And you have the Day of Atonement. And then you had a delay. You had the blowing of trumpets, which represented September of 2017. The blowing of trumpets is 10 days before the Day of Atonement, which is also the Day of Jubilee, which is 2027. Some of these things are commonly known among the Hebrews, the true Hebrews. Okay. Then you have 5 years later, 2032, Feast of Tabernacles. Let me tell you something. This is 2022. What does that mean then? Only 10 years left or less. 10 years or less. Okay? Because the Most High said he's going to cut the work short in righteousness. Three and a half years. It's going to start in the spring. I'm not sure which spring yet, but 3.5 years will bring us back to the fall 3.5 years later. The Most High will show us more as we get closer. Not going to have all the answers right now. It's all good. As we get closer, as we continue to read his word, as we continue to seek to bring him glory, he will make known to us his words. Turn you at my reproof. Proverbs 1:23. Behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you. I will make known my words unto you. You want to know the truth? Better find you a Hebrew, because they're gonna know it. That's exactly right, Brother Mark. This time is flying, and it's going by quick. I was just telling my wife, here we are in February 2022. Before you know it, it's going to be summer. Then it's going to be fall again, then winter, then 2023. It's coming in real fast, real fast. Most High is doing it. The Most High is doing this because he has been ready to come back from 1844, and he's only been stopped because of the 144,000. And he purposely showed us that to show us only thing that he needs done now is to find those servants that are going to give him glory. Praise Yah. That's where we at right now. Okay, so we're going to stop here. We're going to take a break and come back. But y'all see why I said we had to take time and go through the 6th trumpet. You see that? See, and there's more. We haven't even gotten to the 2 witnesses yet. We haven't even gotten there yet. Lord, I gave you a little appetizer a few weeks ago, but we got a lot of more. We got a lot of more to look at. Okay, a lot of more. Praise the Most High. So we're going to come back and look at chapter 10 some more after the break. It is now 12:41. We'll come back at about 1:30. That's okay with y'all. We'll come back about 1:30 and we'll continue in Revelation chapter 10, looking at these things much more closely. But you can see, look at what we did today. We looked at Daniel, like we said, right? We looked at Leviticus. Who would have thought the book of Revelation? How many of y'all hear Christian preachers tell you how the book of Revelation is tied to the book of Leviticus? You see what I'm saying? I mean, you see what I'm... Please. Ain't nobody out. Only the Hebrews going to know that. And how the worship of the cross, the wood and the stone, and we can see that that's Christianity and Islam, 2 of the 3 so-called Abrahamic religions. We can see 6 is man's number. The word tells us that. The Father's Spirit tells us that. And I praise y'all because I know there's brethren all over the planet that's going to be receiving these things. And, and that means the kingdom is coming soon. Now, we got some hell to go through, no doubt. But the Most High has promised us he will bring us through, right? He said, Daniel, there shall be a time of trouble such as never was. But the children of thy people are going to be delivered, he said. Everyone found written in the book. Well, brethren, if we're receiving Father in Messiah, if we're receiving his word, You don't do that because you're smart. You don't do that because you're tall or short or fat or skinny. You do that because you're chosen. You do that because the Father's Spirit is drawing you. You do that because Messiah is introducing you to your Father. That's right. Messiah is the one to introduce us to our Father. Praise the Most High. And he sends his angel. It may not always be Gabriel. He can send any angel. He can send your angel. And your angel is giving you the Father's Spirit. The 7 spirits that are before his throne. And they're guiding your steps. All he wants you to do is seek his face. That's all. He'll do the rest of the work. Praise the Most High. Praise the Most High. Yeah, we have respect for Father. Just like we have respect for our earthly fathers when they're around, right? We have respect for them, right? Well, the Heavenly Father, we have respect. We respect. Our Heavenly Father is not our buddy. He's our Father. Praise the Most High. Praise Yah. Praise Yah. Amen. So we'll come back after the break at 1:30 Eastern, and we'll continue our study here in the book of Revelation, being prepared for the Father and for Messiah's return. May the Most High bless you and keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May he lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Shalom, my brother.